Hi, and welcome to Female Entrepreneurs Magazine, your go-to platform for ambitious women who are ready to take the business world by storm. I'm your host, Angel France, and each week we'll dive into the latest strategies, stories, and success secrets from the most inspiring female entrepreneurs around the world. Whether you're just starting out or scaling up, this is your space to connect, learn, and grow alongside a community of trailblazing women who, just like you, they are making their mark in the world of business. From personal branding to powerhouse marketing, from leadership to lifestyle tips, we've got you covered. So get ready to ignite your passion, fuel your purpose, and unlock your potential with Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. Let's make this journey together and turn your entrepreneurial dreams into reality. Hey guys, it's Angel here with Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. Let me tell you about our guest today. She's all about confidence, connection, charisma, and Lord, I am just so excited because she loves to dance too. So, Nina, tell us more about you, what you do, and how you connect with people and get them to connect with others.
Well, thank you. I'm so excited to be here, Angel. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I'm excited about the magazine. It's going to be hitting the world by storm because I feel like we need it nowadays. And what I do is I'm a connection coach, and I teach people all about the how-to of connection, from body language to having charismatic conversations. And this matters because you want to walk in a room and be noticed. You want to stand out. You want people to talk with you and remember you and want to connect more with you. And so we need to actually understand, and this is where the dancing comes into place, like how to embody our best selves, our identities of empowerment, and go out there and have conversations and interactions where others can feel that they know us and they know our hearts and connect with us in a deeper way. And then I feel like when you have that, when you know how to connect with people, it is like having a highway to your dreams, because whatever you want, you need people. And when you do connect with them, it can happen much faster. And so I teach people the how-to of connection.
Oh, I love the highway to your dreams. Oh my
Yes.
word, that is fabulous. So yeah, and not taking those detours that are on the highway that you're not supposed to take. That is a great connection.
Yeah, and sometimes those detours is when we're feeling stuck or alone, or we're like not sure what to do, or we get lost. And I find that, I'm a big believer that wherever you're stuck, or whenever anything is like not feeling well, you do need to connect. You do need to go out there and share your story, or ask for help, or even, invite somebody to collaborate with you, or share your idea and raise your hand, right? When you do those things, then that's when energy gets amplified and more can happen, and opportunities arise. But sometimes the detours are like we're kind of stuck in a ditch, right? Or we haven't decided what to do, so we're like analyzing, or paralyzed, or lost, or confused. And I always think that is a trigger to get out there and connect and figure out. And sometimes it's connecting with yourself, and sometimes it's connecting with others, and usually it's both. You need to be still and connect with yourself. And then you also need to go out there and share some of what's happening, ask for help, or brainstorm ideas, or spark something new from a conversation, or a new relationship.
Yeah, you just never know when those conversations have that spark, they light up. That's like us. If we wouldn't known each other from another connection, we wouldn't
Yes.
be here today.
Exactly, exactly. And I remember when we met, I said, "Oh, I have this master class," and you were like, and I said I needed to audit it, and you're like, "I'm gonna go, I'm gonna show up." And that is one of the biggest. You asked me what I teach. I teach people to give energy. When you give energy, when you give of yourself, that is going to be how people start feeling your heart and want to connect with you more. That was so attractive for me, to be like, oh my gosh, she is going to spend her time, watch my thing, give me some feedback. And it was such a generous thing to do with your time and energy. So I saw you differently after that. I was like more interested. I was more leaning in, right? So these small things, we don't realize that sometimes we're opening doors or closing doors.
And that was a wonderful masterclass I went to. I loved it. Everybody should like at least take one of her masterclasses because it is fabulous. Just the way she explains things to you comes across in a different way than what you would think because
Oh,
her brain is going in a different way, and that's how she's getting you to connect too. Am I right?
oh, totally. And I mean, I've been teaching dance for 25 years, but when you teach anything for that long, and I love teaching, I think it's my first passion, and I study teaching. You start being able to explain things in different ways and see things in different ways because the goal is that the person gets it in a way that they're not just hearing the information but feeling the information and being able to act from the information. So that's what I do in my master classes. In any class, I just want to make sure that people can understand it so well they can talk about it, they can have a conversation, explain it to somebody else, put it into practice right away, not just kind of stay in your head and know, but really feel like they know what they got, you know.
So it's almost like in a dance, there's a flow, and they're just flowing with the connection and communicating with others and showing their charisma 100%.
Yes. And you know, we are all naturally charismatic. Some people say, oh, I'm not like that. I don't have the it factor. When we are ourselves, you know, if you think about yourself with your friends, when you go out for a night with your girlfriends or your best friends or the couples that you like to hang out with, you are, you know, you're yourself. And so you're relaxed. You can tell a joke. You can tell stories. There's no filter. There's no worries. That is what I call the charismatic self that we naturally are. And so my goal with my clients and people is to teach them how to start removing those barriers to connection and be more their natural charismatic self in all situations. And some people are more introverted, like I'm an introverted, that person that has learned how to connect. A lot of people don't believe that. They're like, no, you're not shy. I'm like, oh my God, you have to, I do get shy. I still have moments even when I'm like in different arenas. And some people are more extroverted and it's easier for them to be the life of the party, but still connecting with people, like you need to calibrate for different people so that you can connect with a variety of people and you're not too intense with some or too introverted with others, but you know how to kind of navigate, we call that conversation agility in certain interactions and really be yourself as you are meeting different kinds of people and be able to connect with different kinds of people. So if you're introverted, it's okay to connect with extroverted and how to do that so you're not drained at the end, because sometimes that's what happens, right? And so, yeah.
And so I am sort of an introvert when I'm home, but when I'm
Okay.
out and about with everybody or I'm talking and communicating with others, I'm like this high extrovert. And everybody thinks I'm like up here. And my husband goes, no, she's really sort of down here a little bit.
Yeah, it is so interesting how we can be different. Different parts of ourselves can come out, and I feel like a whole person is actually an ambivert. Like when you become whole, you can bring out the introverted parts of yourself at times and bring out the extroverted parts at times, and you can have choice. For me, that's the ultimate, and what I would tell my younger self: learn that you have choice. You know, you have choice around who you are. Nothing is set on stone. You're not a solid person. Like some people think, oh, I say to myself, I'm shy, and that's how I was all my life. It doesn't mean you cannot have, you know, you cannot be a speaker, or you cannot be doing a presentation, or you cannot be the life of the party. You can, even if you have been a certain way, because you have choice. And I feel like that is one of the gems I would tell my younger self if I were to meet her again.
I love that. That is like one of my favorite things. So, how did you become an entrepreneur? What did you do before becoming an entrepreneur, and how did this manifest into your life?
Yeah, so I became an entrepreneur at 19 years old, very young age, because I was raised by entrepreneurial family. My grandfather, he actually had in Argentina an egg selling business, and I know that it's like, what is that? But he was selling eggs door to door, and he was retired and doing this and working like 3 hours a day. And he built three houses after he retired from selling eggs door to door. And he was just a very good with people. And so he ended up building this business that my mom then took over later on, she took one of his routes and she grew it because she's also a very entrepreneurial and people person. And I saw her grow and even sell her client list. And this is like in the 90s in Argentina, where like that is never heard of. Like we're selling a list of names, right? She was able to sell her business, and I grew up with that entrepreneurial spirit. And I, even though I went the corporate route, I still got a business. I had a job at the time. I had a job, two jobs in my dance school. I was kind of learning how to do this. I still always knew that I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to have the freedom. I wanted to have my own clients and just kind of like be the boss, And because I grew up with seeing my mom, and my grandfather, they had their own hours. They had nobody that they had to report to, and they could just choose to live their life how they wanted, organized. And I just thought that's really great. And then we kept building houses. We kept and so I thought they make more money than the people in my family that are 9 to 5 or that are working even 12 hours. And I just thought I could see the comparison. So very early on, I knew I wanted to have my own business, and I was learning to dance and I was teaching with other instructors. And then my instructor, the one that taught me, he was like, I think you could have your own class. Why don't you teach? And he gave me my first class with 20 people. And so I didn't even have to start from scratch. I started from that relationship, handing me like in a silver platter, a business. And that's the power. That's why I say it's a highway to your dreams. That's the power of connecting with people. And he knew my heart. I knew what he wanted, and it aligned that I could take over some of his classes, and we did a profit share, but that's how I started. I didn't start from zero. I started with like a community of people that knew me as an assistant and then an instructor, and all of that came was like I leapfrogged from zero to having my first business, which was a dance school. And I still have to this day. And I do that alongside my coaching business. And so, yes, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I saw it. And over time, that's where life kind of led me.
I love it. I love it. So, entrepreneur basically your whole entire life. I know you have children, correct?
I do.
Your children, and you're married, or
yeah.
Yep. And so the question becomes is having these 2 to 3 different businesses, having children and being married, how do you balance it all?
Yes. Well, yeah, so we have a blended family. So both my daughter, my bonus daughter, and my son are 11. They're going to be 12 by the end of the year. So that's an interesting also mix, because we also have co-parents that we parent with, and so we have to manage all of those schedules. I have my dance school and my online business of coaching. And I also have a very romantic relationship with my partner of 6 years. And I have a lot of friends that I do hang out. And I believe you have to build that personal life as well to keep the spark alive in your relationship. So there's a lot going on. And how I manage it is with community, with like having a village. So I don't do anything without having like a group of people that we kind of do things together. And so, for example, my household, my cleaning and cooking and babysitting, all of that, I don't just hire a housekeeper. I'm actually part of a program where it's called Workaway. And you kind of interface with people through this website called workaway.info or org, something like that. And they send you people that live in your home and, work 5 hours a day for free. The exchange is that they get free room and board. So Vancouver is super expensive. I'm from Canada. Like staying a month in Vancouver would be like $200 a night, right? So a lot of money, but so people that are traveling want to find alternative ways. And so this program connects host families like us with workawayers that want to experience living in the city, but without having to pay for rent, food, and so on, and also not being completely alone. They have us, the family. And so we've had workawayers from all over the world, Germany, Spain, Colombia, and it has created such a beautiful, way of working together with the family. So my workawayers sometimes will make me lunch, breakfast, dinner, like the food for the week. And sometimes we'll do babysitting. We kind of organize. And sometimes people don't understand. They're like, what do you mean? You have like a chef? Yes. And you have a babysitter that lives at, yes. You have a nanny, right? Yeah. And you also have a cleaning lady? Yes. Like she does all of these, duties. But at the same time, she gets the exchange of practicing her English, being in a home that is safe and community around her. And then she doesn't have to pay rent and all of these things. And so that's one way where I'm like, I look for alternative ways to create community for my family and also get my duties and things kind of taken care of. And so the way that I handle all of it is having relationships and friendships and kind of systems in place that help help. So I have no shame in asking for help and figuring out how to create a win-win-win situation with other people in my life, my friendships, my colleagues, and so on, and collaborations. I'm a huge fan of collaborating. And so that you don't have to do it alone. And it's so much more fun.
I like my favorite word you just said in there. There are two: help and collaboration. You're not afraid to ask for help, because so many of us as female entrepreneurs have a tendency to like go, I have to do it all on my own.
Yes, and for me, I correlate that with like the less you can ask for help means the lack of confidence you have and the lack of connection to yourself. Because a person who is confident and connected to themselves, they know they can't do it all. They know that you will go farther together. You know that also it could be a win-win for the person that is helping you. Like so many people want to help. They want to be part of like a family, or they want to be part of help. Like I have so many, when we go on vacation, my little cat, she has 5 people that come visit her, and all the people that come visit her, they love cats, but can't have cats in their homes. And so it could be a win-win. And sometimes people forget that part of the equation when you're asking for help, that they think that you're the only one receiving help, but in reality it could be a circle, and the other person can also be getting a big reward from helping you and feeling good. And so let's not take that away. Let's just add and make it a win-win-win. So yeah, I anything what we need and anything that I'm thinking of, I'm always looking for what is the community that I can build around this project. Like I was looking at going to the sauna more often, and I found that one of my partner's friends has a sauna in his building, and so we're like, well, let's get together, all of us. And so we had like a group of 4 or 5, and we went, and then sometimes it was 2 or 3 of us, but it was much easier for me to get to the sauna in this environment with more people than if I was just planning it by myself, right? So knowing that somebody else was going to be there and it was going to be fun, we were going to talk and have conversation, and you're not at it alone, and it kept me accountable, was much easier in this endeavor that I wanted to do, sauna 3 times a week, than just booking the sauna for myself somewhere at some store. You know what I mean? And so it was much more fun. It was community, and all of us benefited because the conversations we had, the resources that were exchanged, the fun moments and stories that were told, invaluable moments, unforgettable moments that everybody benefited and got rewarded from. So that's how I look at help. You're not just helping for you. You're also, it's a circle. It amplifies more.
I love that. And, being a dancer, community and the group and dancing as a group makes a big difference too. Don't you find that dancing as a group and or even with a partner actually helps you in the communication as well?
Oh,
And especially what you said, I love the fact that you brought up, you even bring it into the fact of going to the sauna in a group.
yeah. Yeah. And again, let me explain to people, I am an introverted person, and I would see myself for years, and still some family members see me as the timid one, as the one that's more shy and quiet. And I'm the oldest one in the family, and my sister, she's like the life of the party, and she's more of an extroverted person. So even with that kind of upbringing and that kind of identity, I still have found ways to create community that really nourishes me, and things like going to the sauna or any project, I'm like, let's talk about it with group, let's share it. And I find that, like, even with my clients, I encourage them, whatever you're doing, share it, start talking about it, seed it in the conversation, so that people start knowing that, oh, you're looking at doing a YouTube channel, oh, that's cool, or you are single, oh, that's cool, or you want to go to this city, oh, that's interesting. You want to share, but sorry, I forgot your question. You said something about that, and I lost my train of thought there.
Oh, you were perfect. You were perfect. We were talking about dancing in a community, in a group, and you were perfect.
Helping communication. Yes. So definitely, I find that what I have learned from dance is that it is a body language, right? It's a language to be able to move together with someone, and it has 100% impacted, influenced, helped in, everything I do off the dance floor. It has helped it, because not only do you understand how to communicate, but it's also from the body out, right? And so when people are looking at getting coaching about conversation agility and so on, like how to have better conversations, if they have a dancing moment where they realize, oh, I'm not listening here in this dance move, I bet you anything they're not listening also off the dance floor. I had a student who, he was like, I was teaching him a figure, and he was start and stopping the constantly. And I was like, you know how you're dancing? It reminds me of when somebody's driving with their foot on their brake. And he got red all of a sudden. And he goes, Dina, that's how I drive. And I was laughing. We were laughing because that's how he was dancing. How you do one thing is how you do all things. And so dancing can give you an insight that is visceral, that is physical, into how you're communicating off the dance floor. So yes, 100% dancing has helped my communication skills. It has enhanced it. I have learned so much about communication through dance, and then applying them off the dance floor as well.
Wow. I just love how you connected the whole thing. So if you had one superpower, what would it be?
I thought about this a lot. I loved that question when you sent it to me, because of course, there's the usual, like, I'll fly and all that stuff. But I would love to have the superpower for a day to really know what to say to someone so that they feel heard, seen, and loved. And they feel like, I understand that we're interconnected just from a conversation interaction. Like every person I met, every single person, everywhere I went, that everybody I talked to or said hi or had eye contact, that they felt seen, heard, and loved. And knowing that we're interconnected, that would be the best day of my life. And that's what I strive for. So that superpower is what I'm constantly working on, nourishing, learning about, reading books about. How can we connect at such a level, even with a glance, even with a smile, so that someone feels seen, loved, and heard?
That's so sweet. Without even saying a word. I love that. I love the fact that you said without even saying a word, that they'll know with just a glance. Love that.
Yeah. And that's possible, and I'm sure all of us have experienced a moment where you've looked at someone and you felt that you were somehow connected, or you knew something about each other, or there was that instant like camaraderie or familiarity, or just, and sometimes it happens in funny moments, like you saw something funny, both of you, and you look at each other and you just laugh like that was funny. That is a moment of deep connection, and you don't have to exchange words.
That is amazing. So I know you've given a TED Talk. Can you tell us about that experience and how it impacted your life and what happened?
Yes, so this was a TEDx Energizer. So this is the talks that happen in between the 20-minute talks where they want it to be an interactive talk. So TEDx, like the organizers approached me and they're like, we want you to include dance, but we don't want you just to move us. We want you to make it a story. And so it was a very interesting challenge, because I was like, okay, let's do movement, but let's talk about creativity and where does it start? And so I had everybody like tap their heart and connect to their heart. And then I'm like, well, when you are feeling that creativity, you have to get into action. And so we started moving our hips, and I made everybody go from their heart to their hips to also we need people and high-fiving people, and I taught them the dance of merengue, which is a very simple dance. And in the TEDx you're not allowed to move around a lot, so everybody just had to stand up in their spot and they were moving in their spot, and it created so much energy for the next speaker. Everybody was like awakened and alive, not just because they moved and danced, but they did it together. And now everybody in the row, like everybody that they saw, like they had something to talk about, something that they experienced as a group. And so it's one of my very proudest moments of seeing 3,000 people laughing and dancing and moving, and people that sometimes you can tell that they would be hesitant, but they got up anyways because it was easy and it was fun, and they were surprised even to themselves. And you can see in the faces, they were like, oh, actually it's not so bad. And we have a video of it on YouTube where you can see the TEDx Energizer. And it was an amazing process. And just even developing the talk was a very good experience for me. I learned so much from it. And then even to this day, years later, people watch it and they tell me, I saw you on TEDx, I did it at home and I loved it. It was easy and it was so kind of like, it made me think not only about moving, but about my past and my future. And because it's a whole journey in 5 minutes that I put them through around creativity and around connecting to themselves. And so, yeah, it was an amazing experience.
Oh, everybody needs to go look at that on YouTube, for the simple reason that it's everything you're talking about, because you even got 3,000 people in 5 minutes to be a part of a group and a community with each other.
And connect to themselves, to their bodies, to the community, to other people. Yeah. And sometimes people think it's hard. They have this idea that it's hard to get out there. It's hard to, talk to strangers. It's hard to connect. It really, if you know that this starts with you and your body language and your inner talk, then it's going to become much easier to move through to connecting with others. But sometimes people start at the end. They start to, okay, I'm going to get out there and I'm going to network and I'm going to go to all these events and and they go to one and then they have like an experience of like, oh my God, their nervous system is like, no. And so they retrieve back to their cave. It really needs to start with connecting with yourself, with connecting to your body. And then you can once you feel like safe and confident, you can go out and you'll see that your connecting with others will be much easier and comfortable than just kind of pushing yourself from the outside in. You really will do better if you are comfortable within yourself and your body and in your mindset to be able to then share who you are when you talk to people. And they can come through.
Yeah. I love it. Now, building your business, okay? Mm-hmm. All your connections, community, group. Is there one thing that maybe you did that was really like the average entrepreneur would go, oh, don't do that, or that would never work? Is there one thing that maybe you did that you stepped outside of the zone of comfort and you did and it worked? Is there one thing?
Well, I have two answers to that. I'll give you like a personal answer and then an outward answer. So the thing that I was always really surprised when it happened was sometimes I would wake up at like 3 a.m. Or when I was writing my book, The Musical Imprint, and I was a co-author, I woke up at 4:30 a.m. and it was like my eyes were open. And I thought, I can't sleep right now. And so I decided to get up and I wrote a whole chapter from 4:30 to 5:30. And then the next day I was up at 4:30 in the morning again, like my eyes woke up again and I had a different idea and I wrote another chapter. And when I sent it to the editors, they were like, we love both, but we can only put one in the book. But it was really interesting because I thought it was going to be hard to write, but it was not at 4:30 in the morning. And I was woken up by, I would say it's inspiration. I don't know. But every time I have followed those hunches of like really late in the middle of the night, I wake up and I have ideas or I have something that doesn't let me sleep, I no longer force myself to go back to sleep. I actually get up. I sometimes go for a walk or I sometimes write on my journal. And I think I'll just take a nap later, but these like 2 a.m., 3 a.m., 4 a.m. talks with myself or thoughts or things that have come up, inspiration, have been crucial for my success, because a lot of the amazing things and ideas that have made my business successful have come up at the weirdest hours of the night. I don't know what it is. Maybe the whole world is quiet and you can connect to the soul of the world or your own soul. I don't know what it is, but following those hunches of getting up and not forcing myself back to sleep has really, really helped. And then the second thing is with people, like I share my vulnerabilities. I share the things that are tough and that I'm going through with people. And sometimes people like cringe. They're like, oh, I don't want to have people know that I'm going through a hard time in this way or that way. But I have found that it is the opposite. I used to model when I was young, and my teacher used to call me Miss Perfect because she would show a modeling thing and I would do it, and all the other girls didn't like me because I was Miss Perfect, or I mean we couldn't connect. And I found that that was a barrier, being perfect or having the illusion that it's all going well all the time. It's actually a disconnecting thing. And so when I learned to break that idea that I'm perfect in any way in other people's minds, or that things are easy for me, and I started sharing the hard things, the true things, the embarrassing things, this is what's happening right now behind the scenes, people really, really embraced the humanness and connected. And so I felt connection way more deeper. And so I would say that if you're scared sometimes of sharing it with your team or sharing, things, of course, you're not going to be going to detail sometimes with people you don't know. You're not going to be like, this is what happens, but actually not being afraid of sharing the realness of things from the place of I'm confident, I'm not ashamed, this is what I'm going through. That has also been helped my success and helped me connect with people, collaborate with people, open doors. And I feel some friendships wouldn't have happened if I was, kind of guarded or just kept it superficial. But because I opened up or I shared, a lot of communities have really embraced me, and people know that they can call me and talk to me about things. People know that if they know the kind of person I am because I opened up. So I don't know if that's unconventional for some people. Some people, they don't want to,
It is unconventional. I love it. Okay, so let's be real.
Okay.
What is one thing that most people don't know about you that
Okay.
that you're willing to be real about? What is it?
Well, do you want a funny thing? I'll tell you one funny thing, and then
One.
yeah, I can tell you lots of things. So one of the funny things is that I don't like what most people in the world love, which is chocolate and some alcoholic drinks. I like wine and things like that. I don't eat any chocolate. I just don't like it, and I don't drink alcohol, but I have in the past, if it's really fine, like a fine liqueur or, something then that can go down smooth, I'll have sometimes, but yeah, I don't like chocolate. And a lot of times I get gifts from my students all the time. And then I'm like, oh, great, chocolates for the rest of the students. But let me see something else that a lot of people don't know about me. To this day, I find being in front of camera something that is hard. I do, even though I practice, I get on camera all the time, IG lives and everything, I still think about 200 years from now, is it going to be relevant or is it going to be not? I think about this is enduring and it lasts. And so I sometimes have to, breathe and ground myself and get my nervous system back into a state of calm and safety. And the way I do it, I tell myself, like, look how far you've come. I used to cry after doing a live. I used to, when COVID hit and we went all on the computers, I didn't even know how to do that. And so I would teach a class on the computer and then we turn off the camera and I'd be crying because I'm like, I didn't see if the students got it, or I don't know if my, like the energy came through. And so I look at how far I've come, and that is where I get kind of solace and encouragement and motivation. But still, it's hard to turn on the record button. It's hard to say yes, and do it again. And sometimes even you might not feel like it, and I still show up, and I will share that I'm not feeling it or whatever. I still show up because it does endure, and I think that's important for people to have you. I feel like every person has so much to contribute. And so when you get out there and you connect, whichever way, it's just going to make things better for the world.
So I'm going to let you know this because I usually don't share mine with you guys, but mine is
Oh,
the same. Actually, the
I
green
love
dot
it.
and I have a challenge.
Yeah. Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because you look so natural and like at ease right now. And I feel like more people need to know that even the people that look like they're loving it, it's still hard. And we all have practices, we all have ways that we connect to ourselves that gets us to continue moving forward, and continue putting ourselves out there and what we have to offer because we know it's going to make a difference. Like if it helps one person, you're going to be happy, right? So that's why you're up here.
And I didn't really even realize it. I always knew that. I was just like, I just don't want it. I just don't like it. I can stand in front of thousands of people, but not, it's different. So I
It
had
is.
a friend of mine from high school tell me, "Are you still running from the camera?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, you're right.
Yeah.
I always have."
Yeah, it is very interesting because you're looking at the green dot, right? Which is, everybody should know that's one of the connection tools is you got to look at the camera, but it's so much nicer to look at you. Like I want to look at you and
Look
your
at the
smile,
whole
right?
time.
But
Yeah,
then
I
our eyes
do.
go down. So it's like, no, no, we need to look at the camera so that at the end result, people will connect with us deeply because they see our eyes, right? So there's a reason and stuff, but it is difficult. It sometimes feels unnatural. But again, I think about how I feel when I watch other people and how much YouTube has helped me because how many times have I gone on YouTube and pulled up a video or a guided meditation or a yoga and I think thank God that people are putting their stuff out there because it's so helpful. And so then I have to think about me that if I put myself out there, it might help someone. And so you got to get over yourself and just go ahead and do it. But of course, there's tools, and that's what we have, coaches, people that help us. But yeah, it is so important because you just never know who's watching, who needs you, and what you have to offer.
I love it. I love it. You're so right. So yeah, so we have one of the same things. I get it. All right, now to help
Mhm.
everyone out there, do you mind telling me about some of your favorite books and the lessons you've learned?
Yes. So I'm one of those people that have like 20 books on the go. So I have a lot of books I can share. Atomic Habits has been a crucial. I have read that book 5 times. I have it on audio. I take notes about page 37 says this, because I feel that it's such a well-researched book and it kind of gives you a plan of how to remove bad habits and how to create good habits. But mainly it talks to the foundation of what I teach that when you're working on your confidence, you need to evolve from who you are to become somebody new. And it's not fake it till you make it. I hate that. I always say it's not fake it till you make it. It's practice till you become it. So just like in dance, you have to practice the steps. And we all know that if we're learning a new dance move, it's not going to just happen if I go to one class. You got to practice, practice, and over time you'll start feeling like you can dance and the flow of the movement and the rhythm. Well, that applies to everything. So you can't fake something, fake confidence. You actually have to practice confidence. And the best way to practice is to make habits around them. And so Atomic Habits for me is like a manual on how to help people learn to create habits of the people they're evolving to become, right? And so huge. I recommend it so many times. And then another recent book I just finished reading with my family. We went on a road trip and I was reading in the front seat while my kids are in the back. And it was great to hear like one more chapter, one more chapter. This is called Into the Magic Shop by Dr. James Doty. And he talks about the power of connecting to your heart, relaxing the body, and visualization. But his life was such an interesting life that when he didn't do those things. And he learned these things as a young boy at 12, and my kids are going to be 12. So it was very, very cool story for them to hear, how it started and then the person's lives and all the ups and downs. That is a great book to kind of teach you from the neuroscience and heart science, like how to connect to yourself and how to visualize like the dreams that you have on a more consistent basis. So I recommend that one. And always, I would say, especially for women, Worthy. That book has made a big impact as well for me to understand that worthiness is not something we have to hustle for. It's kind of like having a heart. We have a heart because we do. Nobody gave it to us. We didn't have to buy it. I mean, you can think a higher power, but we all have a heart. And whether you're a good person or a bad person, you have a heart, right? And so I think of worthiness for me, it was that analogy that came to me, that being worthy of anything is just the same as having a heart. You have worthiness. So that book, Worthy by Jamie Kern Lima, I would recommend it as well. So yeah, and you can ask me on a category and I can give you a recommendation because that's how much I read. And I love books and stories. So yeah, there's many.
All right. So if we want to get our groove on and get a little motivated, what's a good song or songs that you recommend?
So I actually have a whole playlist that I named I Am Women. So because I just like, okay, this is what I need as a woman. I need to move my body. I need to kind of express myself. I need to get into my feminine energy. So a couple of the songs, if I want to get into an upbeat mood, I like to listen to Mi Gente, which is a Latin kind of reggaeton by the name of, I think his name is William. Let me just find that. But I can tell you, there's another one. It's called What Else Can I Do by Diane Guerrero and Stephanie Beatrice from the movie Encanto, which is a Disney movie. And that one always, whenever I feel like a little stuck or I feel like I don't know where to go, I listen to that one because she's like, I created all these beautiful things. What else can I do? And it just makes me feel like, yeah, I also have created lots of things. What else can I do? And it gets me in that brainstorming mindset. But if I ever feel a little like, oh, I don't know, everything's a mess, I listen to Desiree Dawson, and the song is called I Am Blessed. And she's like, I am blessed, even though I'm feeling like a mess, I am blessed. And so I love, so for me, I just listen to songs that will speak to the feelings I'm feeling at the moment. And so Unstoppable, if I'm feeling very excited, or, the Hall of Fame one, or anything by Imagine Dragons that get me moving because they speak to a feeling that I'm feeling. So yeah, you can hit me up for songs because I have a lot of different ones. Yeah.
What about that go-to quote that you just like, oh, okay, I need this right now? What is that go-to quote?
Okay, so I have one for when I'm going to go out and meet people. And then I have one for myself if I'm ever stuck. So I'll tell you, the one for meeting people is the Maya Angelou quote that I often finish my keynote speeches with, which is, people will forget what you said, people will forget what you did, but people will never forget how you made them feel. So that's Maya Angelou. And so I think about that when I go out. I'm like, how do I want people to feel around me? They're going to forget everything I say. They're going to forget what I did, but they're not going to forget how they feel around me. So I want to make sure I share my heart, and I want to make sure I listen and they feel heard. So that's that quote. And then when it comes to business, some days you're like smashing it, and some days you're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do, or I'm stuck or confused. I like the Martin Luther King quote that says, if you can't fly, run. If you can't run, walk. If you can't walk, crawl. Do whatever to keep moving forward. And so I think of that some days where I'm like, I can't, I have things with my kids, or I have lots of things happening in my family or health-wise, and I need to slow down. Well, I'm going to slow down that's fine. But is there anything that I can still do to move forward? And that could be like taking care of myself, a self-care, napping, that might help me move forward. I have taken a lot of power naps.
Like when you wake up at 4 o'clock in the morning, 4:30, right?
Yeah, sometimes, yeah. Yeah, so whatever you need to just keep moving forward. And I'm a big believer of that. Just don't stop. And the last one I'm going to say that just came up right now, and I actually painted this in a plate. You know, when you go to those paint and they fire it up and then you end up with the porcelain with the painting. I made this plate that said, "Follow your bliss." And I think about that often because sometimes there's so many opportunities, but what is the one that has the most excitement? What is the one that lights you up? That's your bliss. So I follow your bliss. That's Joseph Campbell. Yes.
Wow, I love everything. So, do you have a giveaway for the audience? You do. I
I
do.
do. Of course I do. Yes. I actually did this mini course that is all about connection and what do you do in the first 5 minutes? What do you do in the first 5 hours? What do you do in the first 5 days so that you can start building deep relationships? So it's a mini course, it's 3 parts, and I'm giving away episode 1. So what do you do in the first 5 minutes in my newsletter? So you can go to my website, ninaperez.ca, and you'll see that it says mini course, and you just sign up and I'll send you the first training. It's actually, the trainings are between 20 and 30 minutes long, each one. And yeah, it's my giveaway so that people don't get shy. You want to get out there and connect. But there's things that you want to do that will create a more of an opportunity, approachability, and safety with others. And sometimes we don't know that we're like by accident repelling people with our body language. We don't know that we're repelling people by how we answer the questions that they ask us. And so what to do in the first 5 minutes so that you can connect and you can share more of yourself is in this course, in this mini course, 5 minutes, 5 hours, and 5 days, so that you can build those relationships and really connect with others. So that's what I have as a giveaway. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing. I love it. I love it. So ninaperez.ca, because you're in Canada,
I'm
correct?
in Canada.
Yeah,
Yes.
there you go. So, and that's how you can connect with Nina. And then so don't forget that mini course. Oh my God, I'm going to go get it. I think it's going to be fun.
Yeah.
So, is there anything else you wish we would have talked about that we didn't discuss today?
Oh, I mean, I think we went everywhere. But I think that the other thing that I would say is that don't underestimate, I'm a mom of two. My kids are always watching. They're always observing us. They're like sponges, and they always are taking, like they're taking your cue. So when you work on connecting with yourself and others, and you are learning that, they're going to seep that. They're going to learn that through how they watch you connecting in the coffee shop, or when you come back and you talk about your stories of networking, or you're like, oh, this big opportunity happened. How did it happen? Well, we had this amazing conversation. Like, I think there is so much power in us modeling for our kids and never stopping to learn how to deeply connect with ourselves more, and also how to connect with other people. So that's the last thing I would say. Just your kids are always watching you. So you want to keep working on this, and it will help you connect with your kids as well, and your parents, or all relationships, learning how to connect. There's no downside.
Yeah. Again, ninaperez.ca. Guys, she's amazing. Go ahead, learn how to get confidence, connect, and just have a whole lot of charisma. So, Nina, I want to thank you for being with us here at Female Entrepreneurs, and love you. And oh my God, cannot wait to talk to you soon. All right.
Thank you. Thank you. And I hope everybody keeps connecting to thrive.
Yep. Bye.
Bye for now.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Female Entrepreneurs Magazine. I hope you found inspiration, actionable tips, and a sense of connection with our incredible community of driven women. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share the episode with fellow entrepreneurs who are ready to elevate their game. Remember, your success is just the beginning, and we're here to support you in every step of the way. Until next time, keep shining, keep thriving, and remember, you have the power to create the business and life of your dreams. Stay inspired, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.